week now of promoting and supporting awareness around how we think and feel to support our well-being. We are going to be waiting for a few minutes, but in the meantime, please like us when you join so I know who's watching. An emoji of your choice in the comment box and where you are based. Knowing where you are based is helpful for our company to see which areas are engaging with us the most. Now, there's a slight time delay as usual, so bear with me replying to comments, and I will also leave the live feed running at the end just so we don't cut anybody off. So today we are going to be looking at attitudes. This will be a great chance for you viewers to gain understanding of attitudes and how or why they form, and let alone considering your own attitude as well. So I will be checking my messages as we go along, so if you have a question at any time, then please pop it in the comment box. This will depend obviously on your level of interaction that you're comfortable with, but the more comments and questions, then the better for everyone all round. So if this is the first time that you have joined our live video, then please look through our Facebook page or visit our webpage at www.resiliencevoyage.co.uk. There you can check out all of our live videos, including our introduction video that was on the 13th of May. That there would let you know about all of our plans and the purpose behind our digital approach while we were all in isolation. Now, our company has had a date for a free workshop. It will be on Zoom. It's the journey of resilience. Now, it's an in-depth look at how the brain works so we can understand our emotional responses, take a look at boundaries, the inner and outer critic, and the big one, of course, which is validation. So this will be on the 13th of May in the evening. Still a time to come on that one. But grab a slot, guys. There are a few left for their date. You'll be able to meet Kerry, our other director, who will lead this fantastic workshop. Now, this will be more in depth and will give you the opportunity to interact with us more on a personal level and our online interaction too. So there is no time like the present to learn more about yourself, for yourself, but to promote self-awareness to family and friends also. Now, this is a free online workshop. It is funded by SS&L, but you will need to be 19 plus and live in Somerset to be able to apply. So we'd also like to highlight that we've just opened a new Facebook group as well. It's called Resilience Voyage, but it's all about resilience. There we will be sharing support and helping each other with tips, quotes, theories, methods, even music, coping strategies, and the list could go on. So come and join us there. Just pop Resilience Voyage into the group search bar. So as a company, we don't shy away from difficult subjects, but we certainly don't want to add to any problems either. So if at any point you struggle after watching any of the content in our video, then please reach out and get in touch with us. We are here to support you or help you to know of all the other organisations that are around us. Now, I just want to say hi to Peter, who's come online. Hi to Colin, and there's also Kerry. Kerry's online and said hi. Hi, Kerry. Kerry, for the viewers who don't know, is the other director of Resilience Voyage. She is a great way for her to be able to be involved with us when we're on here, so she can answer any questions that I might miss or not get around to. But also, Kerry highlights a lot of great points along the way through our videos as well, so keep a little eye out for the comments that she pops down there. All right. So as a company, we explore people's general thinking skills. So we hope to create some space for awareness, to give people a chance to reflect on the choices that they make, the behavior that shows itself, and some understanding to their actions. So highlighting attitudes and getting you guys to think about your own will give you a great insight into yourself. So why, you might ask? Because self-awareness is key. Remember, I go on about this with you nearly on every video that I do. Self-awareness, self-awareness, self-awareness. So some of your attitudes will be based on your beliefs. Hi, Rox. Rox is online. Good to see you. So some of your attitudes will be based on your beliefs. Some of your attitudes will be based on your feelings, and other attitudes will be based on behavior. Now, attitudes are often the result of experience or upbringing, and they can have a powerful influence on over your behavior as well. So while attitudes are enduring, they can also change. So viewers, I have some big questions for you, and whichever stands out for you, it would be great if you could answer at least one of those, just so we can have a little bit of thought about people's reactions and attitudes on towards these. So, what's your opinion on the death penalty in other countries, or the fact that we don't have one in the UK? That's the first question. Or you could answer, which political party does a better job of running the country? That could be quite a big one. Another question, should violence on television be regulated? And the last question for you to pick from, do you believe COVID virus was man-made? Now, I'll go over those questions again. So there's 4 that you could pick from. It'd be great if you could have an opinion on one of those. Don't worry about what that opinion is. Nobody's on here to judge you. And if anybody does troll, I'll happily kick them off. So please feel free to pop your opinions on one of these questions. So the first one, what's your opinion on the death penalty in other countries, or the fact that we don't have one in the UK? Which political party does a better job of running the country? And should violence on television be regulated? And then the last question, do you believe COVID virus was man-made? All right, so have a little think about those. Don't worry, don't try and rush your message. I will come back and have a little look. So please put down an opinion, what you think of those questions there, and I will reflect back at them at some point. Don't worry if you don't comment straight away. Make sure you put a good answer down so I can read it through. Kerry has started it off, which is great. So Kerry's I don't agree with penalty and think it's good we don't have it. So Kerry, if you could add a little bit more in about that, that would be great. However, that's a great start, so thank you for that. So straight away, you've gone with that one. Anybody else? Again, like I said, please take your time, answer away. Those are quite big questions. So the chances are, though, that you probably have a fairly strong opinion on one of those, or maybe all of them. So you've developed attitudes about such issues, and these attitudes influence your beliefs as well as your behavior. Attitudes are an important topic of study within the field of social psychology. But what exactly is an attitude? How does it develop? So Hogg and Vaughan sums this up nicely. So an attitude is a bundle of beliefs, feelings, and behavioral tendencies towards socially significant objects, groups, events, or symbols. Psychologists define attitudes as a learned tendency to evaluate things in a certain way. So evaluations are often positive and negative, but they can also be uncertain at times also. So for example, you may have mixed feelings about a particular person or issue. We can also look at the structure of attitudes and pop them into 3 components, which is really useful to break attitudes down and be able to understand how it works in our mind. We can do this by using the ABC model of attitudes that is out there, that has been created by researchers, and I think it's a fabulous one at that. So let's have a look at the ABC model. So affective components. Affective components. This involves a person's feelings or emotions about the attitude of the object. So for example, okay, I am scared of spiders. So spiders is the object. I am scared, that is the emotion and feeling. So that is the affective component. I am scared of spiders. Then we have behavioral component. The way the attitude we have influences on how we act or behave. So for example, again, using the spiders, I will avoid spiders and scream if I see one. Now, I know a lot of people who would probably be going, tick, absolutely, that is me. That's how I behave towards that. So there is your behavior. I will avoid, and the object being the spiders, and I will scream if I see one. So then there's the cognitive component. This involves a person's belief, knowledge about that object. So again, the object is spiders. So I believe spiders are dangerous. And some people I know would think spiders are going to eat them. Rationally, that is not going to happen. But there we go. So attitudes can be explicit or implicit. So explicit attitudes are those that we are consciously aware of and that clearly influence our behaviors and beliefs. And then there's implicit. And these attitudes are unconscious, but still have an effect on our beliefs and our behaviors. So where do these attitudes come from and how are they formed? Now I'm going to quickly just spin just to see if anybody else has added to those quite difficult questions, I won't lie. So Roxine, I don't agree with the death penalty. There are too many miscarriages of justice. Well said, thank you for adding that one. And it feels strong as well. I can feel the feeling in that. And hopefully, if you've just been listening to what I said, you're probably going to identify straight away with how you feel, the feeling of that attitude that you have towards that. Colin, COVID virus was not man-made. However, incompetence has probably made it worse. What a great opinion. Yeah, really good opinion. I like that. And again, a clear attitude towards that topic was not man-made. So that is your belief there, an absolute solid belief. And then you've given us incompetence has probably been made where you can see the feeling involved there with that attitude as well. So if you can recognize that, that's great. There, so I think it's good that we don't have the death penalty. Life means life in most cases. The Conservative Party have always done the best thing for our country. Violence on TV. Oh, you've gone for them all. Fabulous. I just realised you've gone for them all. Violence on TV genuinely is moderated with warnings before shows or films start, which I think is good. Yes, COVID-19 is man-made. Okay, so again, you've got a lot of solid beliefs there, which is fantastic. Kerry, I wrote a massive response and then clicked off and lost it. Oh, oh, how frustrating for you. And now I'm left wondering what that was. You've got time, Kerry. Like I said, you've got time. There is no rush. Put your answer in, pop it up. I promise I will come back because it relates to the whole entire thing that we're doing today. Peter, I am afraid of loved ones falling from height. I will scream when they get close to a ledge. Oh, that's great. You've thought of your own there. That's brilliant. That's really good. Right. Thank you so much, guys, for that. That was really great interaction. And it's what's great about the interaction and putting down your ideas is that people then will look at them and it will help them reflect too. And that is what's great about sharing. So thank you so much. So I said before I looked over there, where do these attitudes come from and how are they formed? Before I continue, think back then to the questions that I asked you and the guys, the people that have put their opinions in, or just the people that have been thinking of them as well. So think back to those because they are big questions, and I can guarantee that the majority of people that's been watching would have had an opinion on at least one of them. But I know interaction can be daunting sometimes, and that's why a lot of people don't always put their opinions down. But keep your thoughts in your mind there. So when we explore these attitudes and where they come from, have a think about the question that you guys have answered or the question that you have thought of, and see if you can link where that strong belief has come from. Think about the feelings that you've put in on your comments as well, and just see if you can link. It's quite a tough one to do, but as I said, a lot of time these are learnt, and it's really interesting to see where the strength of an attitude comes from, which sometimes can show explosive behavior. Right, here we are. Kerry has got her message back and I want to read it. So basically, harsher punishments does not stop crime. If people do not consider the consequences, they won't think of them no matter the consequence. An eye for an eye leaves us all blind. Ah, well said. I see it as no difference in smacking a child for hitting. What are we showing them? It goes completely against rehabilitation, which I believe in. Right there, that was lovely. Yeah, really strong beliefs in there and real strong feelings towards that. Fantastic. Thank you, Kerry, for finding that and getting that back up. That was great. Right, so we've had a little look at that. We've had a little look at it. I'm going to leave you guys thinking about the links that we've spoke about while I continue on. Now, remember our attitudes are a bundle of beliefs, emotions, and behaviors. So research believes that our attitudes form directly as of experience. Now, they may emerge due to direct personal experience or they may result from observation. So let's start with social factors. Social role and social norms can have a strong influence on attitudes. Social roles relate to how people are expected to behave in a particular role or context. Social norms involve society's rules for what behaviors are considered appropriate. Now let's explore learning. Attitudes can be learned in a variety of ways. Consider how advertisers use classical conditioning to influence your attitude towards a particular product, and they're quite clever at it too. So in a television commercial, you see young, beautiful people having fun on a tropical beach, which sounds like heaven, enjoying a sports drink. I think they've summed that up nicely already, haven't they? So this attractive and appealing imagery causes you to develop a positive association with that particular drink. And then there is conditioning. Operant conditioning can also be used to influence how attitudes develop. So imagine a young man who has just started smoking. Now, whenever he lights up a cigarette, People complain and even ask him to leave their facility. This negative feedback from those around him eventually causes him to develop an unfavorable opinion of smoking, and he decides to give up the habit. Now, we can look at this from a viewpoint as well. Smoking used to be the thing back in the day. So many people did it because it wasn't seen as a bad thing. It was actually seen as fashionable. And then it's changed, and rightly so. But again, with all the negative attention to it, and even particular month campaigns to stop smoking and so on, people are starting to quit, and more quit. You can see how that really works. So then there's observation as well. Finally, people also learn attitudes by observing people around them. When someone you admire greatly espouses a particular attitude, you are more likely to develop the same beliefs. I think that's quite impressionable as well for the younger people too. So, for example, children spend a great deal of time observing the attitudes of their parents and usually begin to demonstrate similar outlooks. Now, attitudes and behaviors. When thinking of people's attitudes, we tend to assume that people behave according to them. However, social psychologists have found that attitudes and actual behavior are not always perfectly aligned. Now, a question to you viewers. As an example, just so it's clear what I'm trying, who supports a particular political party and yet fail to go out and vote? Now, I think a lot of us have been guilty of that one. So, who supports, this was quite a mouthful for me just a minute ago, as you could probably tell, supports a particular political party? Three P's, that's why I struggled. Yeah, okay, so particular political party and yet failed to go out and vote. Who's done that? Has anyone done that? Anybody brave enough to put their hand up and say, yep, that's me? Or you may have a strong attitude towards a political party that you don't want to win, yet you still go out and vote against them. Anybody guilty of that one at all? Because again, I can put my hand up for that. I used to never vote. And then I started a few years back, a little bit late. But anybody recognize that? Because these questions are to highlight that not always do our attitude and our behavior match up. So let me know you guys think about that. Can you relate in any way? Do you have a strong attitude about a particular thing? Behavior doesn't match up. So even if you guys can't relate it to the political party that I just spoke about, is there anything else that you've popped up in your mind that actually, yes, my attitude and my behavior does not match up? So have a think of that, and if you feel like sharing, pop it in for me. So let us know about it. Pop it in the comment box. Maybe it's made you think though of another one, so keep that in mind, okay? Without mentioning names, you can. It might have made you think of somebody else, and then say, but don't mention their name. It's great to reflect. So people are also more likely to behave according to their attitudes under certain conditions. So let's explore where the strength fueling that attitude comes from. So it could be that you are an expert on the subject. Have you noticed that? If you know the subject really, really well, do you find that your attitude gets stronger and stronger and stronger? Because I have noticed it in myself when I feel really confident on something, my attitude follows along with that emotion as well. Confident. It's a strong force. What about if it's a favorable outcome for you? Does your attitude get stronger when it's in your favor? And it could be because you've experienced something personally. So if you've got a personal experience, that could impact massively on the attitude that you place on that topic too. So also it could be a win or lose, something due to the situation. So what's interesting on this topic is that people are able to change their attitudes to better match their behavior. For example, a person experiencing psychological distress due to conflicting thoughts and beliefs can then reduce this tension by changing their attitude. Now, I reflect on this personally to help break this down again because it can get a bit wordy sometimes and a bit muffled. So I'll break it down with an example for myself. So a past attitude of mine was no one could be trusted, yet my behavior did place trust in others. So therefore, it wasn't matching, as my attitude was distressing and conflicting because of these feelings and unfair beliefs that I formed from others, needing changing for a healthier outcome of myself. So I worked on changing my attitude to better align my behavior, helping me to be more consistent and healthier. So even though my attitude was people can't be trusted, my behavior didn't align with that. Not always. So there was a lot of time I did put my trust and hope into people. So to make that healthier, I needed to have a look at my attitude so then my behavior could be in line. So I worked on changing that. Now imagine the following. You've always placed a high value on financial security, but you start dating someone who is very financially unstable. So in order to reduce the tension caused by the conflicting beliefs and behavior, you have two options here. So you can either end the relationship and seek out a partner who is more on your wavelength, matching your attitude, or you can work on the strength of your attitude towards financial stability. So you either change your attitude and your actions or end the relationship. That kind of sounds like two extremes, I know. But if you're looking for ultimate happiness within that relationship, then you kind of need to address the problem directly straight on. So can anyone relate to facing opposite attitudes within a partner? There are plenty, I would say, but obviously we're asking you now, and this can be very much on the spot, so it can be really hard to just think of things straight away. So I do appreciate that. But if you can relate to facing any opposite attitudes with a partner, and pop it in the comment box. Let us know if you have faced this problem. You might have not even noticed it straight away until we're talking about it now. So if you do feel like sharing, that would be great. Just pop your example or your experience in the comment box. The financial one is definitely, you normally get, so people say the opposites attract, don't they? Yes, which is absolutely true, but you're gonna get a lot of attitude problems in that house because of the differences. Doesn't mean you can't work as a couple, it just means you need to practice the shift of that attitude and not make it so strong that it becomes extremely conflicting in your house. So you need to find a balance with those attitudes, but first of all, you have to be aware of them. Okay, so I wanted to share a few theories with you guys. Now, is this learning theory? So, classical conditioning and observational learning can be used to bring about attitude change. So, classical conditioning can be used to create positive emotional reactions to an object, person, or an event by associating positive feelings with the target object. Now, an operant conditioning can be used to strengthen desirable attitudes and weaken undesirable ones. So people can also change their attitudes after observing behavior of others. Now, elaboration likelihood theory, mouthful again, but this theory of persuasion suggests that people can alter their attitudes in two ways. First, they can be motivated to listen and think about the message, thus leading to an attitude shift. Or they might be influenced by the characteristics of the speaker, leading to a surface shift in the meantime. And then there's the Socinus theory. Now that's one that is quite interesting. This one, people can change their attitudes when they have conflicting beliefs about a topic. In order to reduce the tension created by the incompatible beliefs, people often shift their attitudes. Now remember, I know this is quite a lot to take in, but the best thing about this video, guys, is you can go back, you can watch it many times over and get all the words that you might have missed along the way, because there's a lot of really useful stuff in this one. Now, before we wrap it up today, when attitudes, I think it's a good idea to keep in mind how attitudes are learned first of all. Now, I'm a parent myself, and I have passed many incorrect attitudes to my child, but I have been able to reflect on that over the past years. And because of my strength in my attitude towards parenting has helped me to change my attitudes elsewhere. For example, my attitude, I'm going to put one out there, is homework. I was terrible with homework, my attitude towards homework. So that schoolwork should stay in school and kids should be allowed to be kids, and they get home, they should be allowed to switch off. That was my attitude towards that. And my feeling towards that was quite forceful. So now, of course, this attitude rubbed off onto my son. But the more I became, the more I noticed my behavior didn't match. And even though I was feeding my attitude about homework to my son, I was still getting him to do the homework and making it very conflicting and confusing for him. Not that I noticed how confusing it was for myself, but yeah, my attitude and my behavior was completely different. Again, completely conflicting. Didn't agree with homework, but do your homework. I'm going to tell you I don't agree with homework, but do your homework. How confusing, especially if attitudes onto children, and that's their experiences. So it's really important to be in check with the messages you're sending across. So I started to try and match my attitude and behavior by changing my attitude. My attitude changed because I reassessed my thoughts and the importance of homework. Funny enough, my new attitude is rubbing off on my son and has been for some time now, and it's got a lot easier. I wanted to highlight and remind you of the importance of our attitudes. They are worth exploring. Those that are worth exploring yourself, but also to consider what you may be passing on to others around you, especially in your tight circle. So self-aware, guys, self-awareness, don't forget it. All right, so thank you so much for joining us today. We will be live again tomorrow on the 8th. That's where we're going to be having a good look through the week and having a look at any questions that have popped up and answer them along the way. Okay. So if today's video has impacted you in any way and you would like to reach out, then don't forget you can get in touch with us. We will support you, talk you through anything that you need talking through with any advice, or pass you on to an organisation if needed. So we'll be live at 3:30. Don't forget, if you would like to know more about our company, then visit resiliencevoyage.co.uk. There you'll be able to get in contact with us and find ins and outs about who we are and what we do. Now, if you're interested on the online awareness workshop, don't forget it's on the 13th of May. Get in contact with us to book your slot, but you need to be 90 plus and live in Somerset. And also don't forget to pop our Resilience Voyage into the group search bar and come and join us. Lots of interesting stuff we're sharing and supporting each other with. So, because of time delay, I'm going to leave it for a few seconds, but thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye bye.